Nestled in the eerie rolling hills of North Wales lies the decaying shell of Denbigh Asylum, a place where shadows stretch long and whispers of the past still linger. This isn't just an abandoned building, it's a decaying tomb, a monument to suffering. Once a sprawling mental institution, it now stands as a haunting reminder of human suffering and forgotten souls. As night falls, Denbigh's silent corridors awaken, and the spirits of those long lost emerge from the darkness. Tonight we confront the darkness that festers within these walls. We're standing in what was once the Bryn Golau Ward, the most active location in the entire asylum. This is where they sent the most troubled patients, the ones who'd lost their grip on reality. It's a decaying, oppressive place. The air is thick with the stench of decay and the weight of unimaginable suffering. You can practically feel the despair clinging to the walls, these cold, damp stones. The stories surrounding Bryn Golau are chilling, bone-chilling. They say a nurse met a tragic end here, and her spirit still walks these halls. People who've dared to enter this forsaken place at night, they've seen her. A spectral figure gliding through the hallways, her presence marked by this faint antiseptic scent and the soft rustle of fabric. Witnesses describe her as wearing an old-fashioned uniform, her face pale and hollow-eyed, her eyes reflecting a depth of sadness that chills you to your core. They say she moves through doorways, vanishes into the decayed walls. Local legend has it that this nurse, she was driven to madness after witnessing countless patient deaths. Imagine the things she must have seen, the pain, the anguish. It's no wonder her spirit can't find peace. She's trapped here, bound to this place by her own despair. A few years back, an urban explorer, one of those guys who's always chasing ghosts, he came here looking for proof of the paranormal. He set up his equipment, his cameras, his recorders, and he waited. And then, in the dead of night, he caught it. A faint, mournful hum on his recorder. It sounded like someone, maybe a nurse, still tending to invisible patients in this desolate place. We've got the recording right here. Let's listen. Play recording of mournful hum. That's not the wind, man. That's not the building settling. That's something else, something not of this world. This next location will send shivers down your spine. Before a devastating fire ripped through it in 2008, the Assembly Hall was the epicenter of the paranormal activity here at Denbigh. This was the heart of the asylum, where patients would gather for meals, for entertainment, for a brief respite from their daily torment. Now it's a charred, gutted shell, a testament to the destructive power of both fire and the supernatural. Before the fire, people would see things in the assembly hall that defied explanation, dark silhouettes appearing on the rotting stage, frozen in place as if part of a long-forgotten performance. Imagine yourself standing on that stage, the weight of hundreds of eyes on you, and suddenly out of the corner of your eye, you see them, the shadows of the dead reenacting their pain. Some say the fire that ravaged this place, it wasn't an accident. They whisper that it was the spirits themselves setting the building ablaze, a desperate attempt to erase their tragic past. One former caretaker, a guy who swore he'd seen it all, he told a story that still chills me to the bone. He was making his rounds late one night when he heard unearthly laughter echoing from the assembly hall. He rushed to the hall, expecting to find a patient who'd escaped. But when he got there, the room was empty, completely empty. But the air was thick with smoke, like a fire had just been extinguished. But there were no flames, no heat, no sign of a struggle, just that lingering smell of smoke and the echoes of spectral laughter. Locals there convinced the asylum's restless spirits they're the ones who started the fire. It was their final desperate cry for release, a way to break free from the chains that bind them to this earthly plane. The hallways of Denbigh Asylum, they never truly sleep. Even in the daylight, when the sun tries to pierce through these broken windows, there's a palpable sense of unease, a feeling that you're not alone. But it's at night when the real horror unfolds. People who come here drawn by curiosity or perhaps a morbid fascination with the paranormal, they hear things. Faint, agonized moans floating through the air, whispers carried on the wind as if pleading for help. These sounds, they send shivers down your spine, make the hairs on the back of your neck stand on end. They say these are the voices of the patients, their pain etched into the very fabric of the building. Imagine the torment they endured within these walls, the cries for help that went unanswered. We talked to a local man, a guy who'd grown up hearing stories about Denbigh. He was always sceptical, always dismissed the tales as folklore, until one night when curiosity got the better of him. He came here alone, drawn to the site by an irresistible pull. As he walked through the dilapidated corridors, he heard it, a woman sobbing, her cries echoing from an upper floor. He followed the sound, his heart pounding in his chest, each step bringing him closer to the source of the chilling sobs. The sobbing grew louder, more intense, until suddenly it just stopped. He burst into the room, expecting to find a lost soul in need of help, but there was nothing there, just the stale, cold air and a lingering sense of dread. It said that the cries, the moans, the whispers, they belonged to the patients who were subjected to the most inhumane treatments, lobotomies, electroshock therapy, their pain so profound that it's imprinted on the very walls of this God-forsaken place. Denbigh Asylum is a labyrinth of twisting corridors and decaying rooms, a place where it's easy to get lost, both physically and mentally. But there's something else about this place, something that sets it apart from other abandoned asylums, the doors. They have a life of their own. Explorers who've ventured into this haunted labyrinth, they've shared terrifying stories about doors that refuse to stay shut. You close a door thinking you're safe, but when you turn around it's open again. Or worse, doors that slam shut without warning, trapping you inside. One woman, she came here with a group of friends, eager to experience the thrill of the paranormal. They were exploring one of the upper floors when she wandered into a room, a seemingly harmless room, filled with dust and decay. The door slammed shut behind her. She tried the handle, but it wouldn't budge. She was trapped. For hours she pounded on the door, screamed for help, but her friends couldn't hear her. She was all alone in the darkness. She told us later that she heard scratching sounds on the walls, faint whispers circling around her, like whatever was in that room with her was toying with her, feeding off her fear. When the door finally opened, her friends found her huddled in a corner, shaken and pale, her eyes wide with terror. She insisted that something had been in the room with her, something evil. Locals believe that the spirits of Denbigh, they're still guarding their territory, unwilling to let the living disturb their rest. They slam doors, lock people inside, anything to keep the living out. Denbigh Asylum, a place that was once meant to heal, to provide refuge for the troubled mind, is now an eerie monument to suffering and loss. The stories we've shared tonight, the evidence we've presented, it's just a glimpse into the darkness that resides within these walls. Its haunted hallways, spectral apparitions and chilling echoes remind us that not all souls find peace. Some remain tethered to the place of their torment. Would you dare to visit? Would you dare to spend a night in the darkness surrounded by the spirits of the forgotten?